Alright, what is up, y'all? It's No Name. Sorry for the delay on this video. I just needed some time to really compile my thoughts on this, because there was a lot of emotion or whatnot internally going around as I started thinking about some of this, so I just wanted to take some time and collect it together. I'm going to talk about the stuff that I deemed important from that first Campfire Chat that Blizzard did, the important news that I think you should know about and what that means, as well as just some criticism about the event itself, as I would like to see this be a fixture that is permanent, but I also want to make sure it's done right. Right. So, overall, there was some information of note that we got about the future, both, near, as in before season one, going into season one, and then some stuff going into season two, which, personally, I find it crazy that we're already talking about season two. So, if you didn't already know, Diablo 4 is going to have a quarterly season structure, which is fairly standard at this point in gaming in general, and with Path of Exile doing its quarterly leagues and D3 having quarterly seasons, it was pretty reasonable to assume that D4 would also have quarterly seasons. So, season 1 is set up to be in July, like I believe they said end of July, so next month at the time of recording, and they pushed a good handful of meaningful notes for things that are going to end up being in prep for season 2, which I guess it's understandable, as there's just certification and development time needs, but it's kind of disappointing personally as a player, just because there's some things that they've said that I think should have been a thing based on feedback that we gave betas. Let's get started. So, first and foremost, Nightmare Dungeons. Nightmare Dungeons were addressed on the stream, and they talked about 3 major changes to them before season 1 hits. And now, before I get into this, do y'all call them sigils, or do you call them keys? Do you call them NMs, nightmare dungeons? Like, I feel like the nomenclature around it is weird, and I would like to. I just feel like I've seen so many different ways of referring to them. I'm going to be referring to them as sigils. During the duration of this video, and probably during the duration of my content on D4, honestly. I just think the item is a sigil. Kind of catchy. There's nothing like it in any other game, so I know for sure that I'm talking about D4. Anyways, sign off in the comments what you guys like to hear them called, or whatever, what you guys call them. So, 1. Nightmare Dungeons will give increased experience in order to make them superior, or, now, personal note, at least competitive, but superior compared to regular dungeon resetting farming strategies. So, right now, we've just been going through a meta of reset dungeon of choice to farm XP, and even after the recent changes, people have figured out how to do this with Nightmare Dungeons as well. So they're finding a way to change how Nightmare Dungeons give XP in order to make it more beneficial and the preferred method of in-game XP farming. This is massive. As it is currently my largest system with the leveling system, given how important glyph levels end up being, I think it's dumb that the place where you get glyph levels is not also where you get your Paragon from, at least in some level of efficiency that feels like it's comparable to what we're getting out of dungeon resetting formulas. And so this is some exciting stuff right here, and I'm extremely happy it's coming before season 1. Also, sigils are going to teleport us to the chosen dungeon on use. Yes. This was one of my number 1 complaints with the sigil system in that first weekend, that early access weekend. This is the QOL that I'm looking for as a gamer. Just because there's some portion of XP inefficiency that could definitely be attributed to the travel time between dungeons. And the part where if you really want to try to be efficient, you would sort of plan out your route a little bit. That was annoying. And annoying is another large part of it, right? It's just inconvenient. Think about what grinding in PoE looks like, right? In PoE, once you get far enough in, your strat is, I'm just going to roll 24, 48, 72 maps ahead of time with sextants and everything prepared. Because then when I'm ready to game, the only thing left to do is put them in the device and go to work. When you grinded in D3, it was slap key against the obelisk and go. And so I'm very happy that this is being added to the sigil gameplay loop as well. It's just going to let it really be that digging a hole deeper and deeper into your playtime that I've wanted it to be. And adding to this, sigils, when used from a dungeon that you complete, will teleport you to the next one. Chef's kiss, honestly. I'm very pleased with all of these changes. There are some concerns I've heard from talking with friends and like reading around about how it kind of is going to end up squandering the open world should this actually become that level of efficient. So personally, I think it could, but I think stuff like Hell ties exclusive resources and the overall efficiency of the PvP zones, by the way, it's going to continue making the overworld something that people do come to anyways, just less, I guess is maybe the way to put it. But sign off in the comments. Let me know what you guys think about this. Do you guys think that this removal of travel or the interaction with the overworld in general, do you think that's going to really harm the open world scene in the game? Or do you think that this is harm that we can do with? You know what I mean? All right. Next up, second big thing, renown. Uh, Going into season 1, here's some stuff we can expect. 1, the map will be revealed in the eternal. Well, basically, in seasons, we will copy the map state, visually speaking only, from our eternal realm. Let me show you what that means very quickly. So you see here on this is my Necro. This is my second character. I haven't played it a whole lot because I went through like a period of just I can't be bothered knowing that there's such a large patch on the wait. I'm just gonna wait for the patch to hit. But one of the things I remember when I made this character is that all I could see were the waypoints for my major cities. Mind you, my Sork that I've spent all of the launch period ahead of time playing on has everything revealed. All of the zones are discovered. And so not just being able to see where the waypoints and strongholds are that I need to go back and redo and recollect, not being able to see them was extremely infuriating and annoying, especially just trying to get over to, say, Runes of Eridu before it got nerfed. I tried to find this waypoint and I actually missed and said, fuck it, and just went to the dungeon anyways. Like, that's annoying. Shouldn't have been a thing. Very glad that this change is getting through. This was like one of my biggest complaints about making my Necro, outside of the speed of the class. 2, Altars of Lilith are also going to retain their completion. Good. Like, I cannot emphasize how good that is. I don't think anyone wants to have to actively do that shit every season over and over and over again. So this is very good. And both of those things I just mentioned about the map reveal state and the Altars of Lilith, both of those will just grant their renown to your new characters in the season, which is great. You're going to get a nice little boost of renown, actually, from doing so. You see here, right? Let's just take Hawazar, for example. There is 56 regions of 5 each, so almost 300. I believe the number I'm looking for is actually 280. Yeah, 280 renown from these, plus 340 renown from the altars. You're looking at 620 renown just off the jump in Hawazar. And you get similar results in all of the regions, right? So I think that that's going to be a really nice little booster. Just, for the personal rewards, that XP and that gold, if you really need it. That's going to be cool. And so what that means is that side quests, dungeons, strongholds, and waypoints are going to have to be redone in future seasons. Season 1, season 2, season 3. So far, those are the things that we're going to want to have to redo. And it's important that we redo them because the account-wide unlocks are realm-specific. Your characters on Eternal have skill points in Paragon. But when season 1 starts, you'll need to re-unlock your skill points in Paragon again. So you're going to have to do those quests in dungeons again. And of note, similarly, the Codex of Power, those min-rolled aspects that we get to slam on to our pieces to make our builds function at a basic level, those will also need to be re-unlocked through the dungeons in new realms. So in new seasons. I'm okay with most of this. I'm okay with. I'm not the largest fan of side quests being reset. because of how much of a necessary step they are in getting the Paragon from Renown. But I do also find the side questing in this game to be rather quick and actually pretty efficient in terms of both in terms of taking you into dungeons and whatnot. Sometimes, like, I think it's actually pretty good. Hopefully this is just a couple hour detour in the season, but I would like to see them reevaluate this going into season 2, because I do sense that this is going to get old quite quickly. All right. Next up, some stuff that, these are some topics that are no longer as grouped because it's not topics with several topic pieces about it. Just, here's some some quick hit changes. Let's talk about something coming in before pre-S1. Or you wish it was pre-S1. You wish this was coming soon. They talked about gems. They mentioned gems on the stream, guys. They said, the gems, that they're going to be moving them into the materials interface where our veiled crystals and whatnot are kept. Here. Wait, no. Here. You see all these materials here. They're going to be moving gems into here. In season 2. You wish that shit was in season 1. Gonna be great change. Just gotta grit and smile through it for a full season first. Apparently there's some technical issues with just moving it immediately. Whatever. I guess I understand. I'm just not very happy about it. Another one that's getting left to season 2, and I think this one should have been much higher priority, but whatever. The scroll of escape in hardcore will be used automatically if you have one when you disconnect, in order to sort of work around the issues that are coming up with the fact that there's that 1 minute of like DC protection or whatever, where you just like are frozen in place. That has been the cause of several rips, especially in the day 1 race, or like moments like that funny moment when Karn DC'd and everybody like panicked and got around them in a triangle. In that group, yeah, like situations like that, a scroll of escape DC would have probably just been better. And so good to see that that's coming. But in season 2, why is this waiting until season 2 when people said back in the beta that this was a problem? You're gonna notice a trend here with this line of thinking. And one more thing that just is gonna not get touched until season 2: resistances. And I have another point about resistances that I'll make later, but just they're gonna rebalance resistances because they're aware of the fact that resistances in the way that they work, due to the math and the penalties they accrue from being at World Tier 4, are bad. They understand that they're bad, but they're not touching it till season 2 because they need time to do the math and get it all worked out correctly and all of that stuff. Would have liked to see this be in the pre-release, if I'm being honest, but at least in season 1, because we've known that resistances were bad since, I believe, the 3rd beta. After they hacked and slashed through some numbers, and I guess maybe they thought the nerfs to number conversion ahead of release would have done enough, and it just still wasn't enough. Okay, those are some things that are frustrating about that I'm frustrated or being waited till season 2. Here's some stuff that's coming before them. Season 1, or actually ahead of season 1, we're going to be getting a patch that will allow us to open world boss caches again. There was a change maybe a week ago that moved up world tier for world boss caches to be level 80 drops. As in that you had to be level 80 in order to open the box. That's getting changed. Thank you, because by the time you're level 80, the odds of that thing dropping anything of value to you is like this. The thing you care about is the actual drop from the boss, which drops one of the items you need in order to add sockets to things. And material caps are being increased. Cool. It's just a nice little small quality of life change. I like it. Picasso. Alright. So overall, I found that the information on the stream was fairly solid. Just like news about the game make me feel very positive, outside of the fact that basically the things that are changing, I'm very happy about. You know, you see it, hearing about the plan a little bit and whatnot, like that makes me happy. I like the sound of the fact that this game seems to have a future, and that, you know, give it some time and it could, you know, it'll shake some more communities at their core, right? Now let's talk about the stream a little bit though, because I said I had some issues. And we're gonna start with resistances because the resistances part really is one of the first time, like one of the moments in the stream that made me like hurt. Um, and it's just because I felt that the his approach to talking about resistances was just too corporate. In this talk about resistances, he would talk about it being a complex system, and a complex system. I feel like in the resistances section, I wish I did a counter of this, but I think he mentioned complex system about resistances 4 goddamn times. Somebody please go back and check that for me if I'm right. I think it was like 4 times. But he says it's a complex system. It's a complex system, while doing nothing to explain what makes it a complex system, what makes it difficult to balance around. Is there just numerical things that the community is missing about resistance values? Like he doesn't talk about shit about how the system actually works. He just says, it's a complicated system and we're working on it. No meat and potatoes at all. And I don't like that. It just, the way that was approached was a large part of reminding me, and it's throughout the entire presentation, but especially that it reminded me that this isn't, you know, this isn't nerdy devs talking about the game that they love, right? Even if they do love this game, right? Like I imagine, you know, they love the game, they love the franchise, they love the work they put into it, but their communication didn't feel like that. When we get stuff like ExileCon's coming up next month, right? That's going to be nerdy devs talking about their game, and that's going to be awesome. When Warframe did their I can't remember the name of those streams anymore, but when they did those streams, that was nerdy devs talking about their game that they love. Destiny has what used to be the TWAB this week at Bungie. I'm so sad that it's this week in Destiny now, but that's nerds talking about the game that they love. I don't get that energy from Blizzard when they were talking on the Campfire Chat. And that makes the Campfire Chat feel pointless to me. Not because I think the information is useless, but why watch this stiff ass impersonable event when I could just get everything they're going to say from the script that they're reading, and likely is exactly what they posted as transcripts on the site about the presentation after the fact. And there's some personal interactions here or there, but none of them were really like defining. For whatever reason, my mind latched onto this one awkward moment of Rob Ferguson getting out like the thing of cookies. And just like how awkward it sounded, how much it crinkled while while Joe Shelley was talking. Like it's just like that just, I hope that the next time we get a Campfire Chat, the chemistry is better or something, because I just want it to be something that I actually want to watch. Not, oh man, I can't wait for the information dump that it gives, but I want it to actually be a personable event. You know, get some community figures in there or something. I don't know. It just needs to be, they just need to loosen up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that's really what makes these types of conversations incredible. It's not just that you're communicating with the community, but it's like the community sees people, not scripts. And that's like my largest complaint. So, you know, with all that said, you know, thank you guys for listening, everyone. You know, hopefully the chats get more interesting, but this upcoming patch, as well as season 1 and season 2, have some very meaningful changes coming their way. And, you know, if you like this recap, again, sorry it was late, but if you really liked it, you know, like would help, and a sub, I'll give you a kiss on the cheek for it. Check me out on Twitch or come hang out in the Discord. Those links are in the description down below. And also, you know, come hang out, see what we're doing. I've got another video coming up soon talking about my wish list for the season 1 patch, just because they haven't talked about what's in the major patch yet, and I'm gonna like talk about what I want to see in it. And then as far as actually making more content covering the game, I'm currently waiting on the pre-season 1 patch. Because I can't justify playing the game in its current state too much yet, but that's another thing, and I'll talk about that more in the future. Just to give you a heads up on why I haven't been talking as much about the current state of the game. I just wanted to cover this video real quick because I wanted to make sure that my thoughts were out there on the chat so that we could, discuss them and move forward from there. Have a great time. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.